In a stunning U-turn, prompted by quite a bit of backlash, OnlyFans said that it will suspend its plans to ban pornography on its platform. Now, OnlyFans isn't just used for pornography, but many do use it for pornography. And those who did earn a living by doing so were incredibly frustrated and upset, with good reason, when OnlyFans decided to change their business model out of nowhere. Now, they have released a statement arguing this: we have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October 1st policy change. Thank you to everyone for making your voices heard. OnlyFans stands for inclusion, and we will continue to provide a home for all creators. So, listen, the people who use the platform for pornographic material made OnlyFans what it is. And then OnlyFans decided to abandon them, citing investment purposes, right? They're like, investors and banks, they don't really like funding things that have anything to do with adult material, so we're gonna go ahead and clean up the act here. And it was wrong, right? Because I mean, look, it's not just OnlyFans. We see this kind of maneuver happen in various ways with other platforms as well. Random changes out of nowhere that benefit their business model, that benefit their finances, but of course hurt the very content creators that made their platform successful in the first place. So I'm glad that they backed off. But the word suspension, meaning they're suspending their plans, makes me a little uneasy. John, what do you think?
Yeah, well, look, they say that they're an inclusive community so long as MasterCard likes it, I guess. So then not really, then. It's as long as it's convenient, I guess. If we can have the financial stuff we want and be inclusive, we'll do it. Otherwise, of those two, we know which they'll choose. So in theory, if MasterCard or whoever, I'm just using them as a stand-in for the financial aspect of this, if those companies change their mind again, what are we supposed to believe, that this time OnlyFans will take the principled stand? Why would we believe that? I mean, maybe we'd believe it because they clearly are scared, maybe, but I don't know, the whole thing is so frustrating. They have a position. There are other things like OnlyFans for that sort of content, but they're the biggest. There's no point in doing all of this extra work, throwing everyone off a cliff so that you can be a less cool Patreon for the same sort of content that already has a bunch of other places that you can do crowdsourcing for.
Exactly.
Why would people switch over to, okay, so you used to be porn and then you got rid of everybody, I'll join. Why? Why would anyone do it? It's such a terrible idea.
Can we also just discuss the banking sector and how they're willing to do business with all sorts of nefarious corporations that literally cause damage to this planet, to our lives on a regular basis? But adult material? You have adult material on your platform? I don't know if we really want to finance that. Like, look, OnlyFans shouldn't have threatened the policy change in the first place. So they certainly deserve the blame, and the backlash has led to them kind of pivoting in a different direction, which I'm glad about, but we should obviously keep our eyes on it because I think this is just a way to get people off their backs, at least temporarily. But I do also think that it's important to discuss certain things that do get financed by these big banks, and it's considered totally okay, totally ethical, when in reality, it should not be considered ethical. So do they do business with gun manufacturers? Do they do business with fossil fuel companies? Do they do business with all sorts of industries that are destructive to communities, to the planet? Yeah, of course they do, of course they do. And there's very little pushback on that, right? You'll have wonderful environmental activists who have succeeded in some cases in getting various banks to pull their investments out of fossil fuel companies, which is great. But clearly there needs to be backlash toward these banks for them to pull their investments, but they don't find any moral issues with funding those types of corporations, right? They certainly do find problems with adult material. I mean, why?
It's the real scourge.
Same thing with legalized pot. I mean, It depends on where you grow or not grow, where you purchase your marijuana. In various states have legalized it for both recreational and medicinal uses. But a lot of dispensaries, they have a hard time in terms of taking debit or credit cards for those transactions.
Yeah.
It's just, but why? Like, we're talking about pot versus, again, fossil fuel companies that have caused so much damage to the environment and our lives as a result.
Yeah, all the extra requirements, the financial like red tape for the pot companies, which was bad enough, the way that these companies were treated back when it wasn't legal, but now we've had it for years. It literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I ordered it via an app and they brought it to my house faster than Jack in the Box would have delivered it, and I'm fine. So like, can we move past all that nonsense and just treat it like the normal business it is? It is effectively the exact same thing as alcohol, but it's not as bad for you.
Right.
That's basically all it is.
Yeah.
And with pornography, like OnlyFans has an opportunity. They certainly had a better opportunity before all this to be like kind of maybe like the aspiration of these sorts of crowdsourced sites. First of all, do they even do? I don't even think they have advertisers, but like they could say, we're going to find advertisers that would like to have their products and services placed on a platform that like everybody uses, and more will with every passing year. And then we will demonstrate via how successful those campaigns are to bigger companies. And it might be difficult because of how puritanical our society is, but maybe over time they could break through to people. And while something like MasterCard may not want to process payments there, some companies will. And you know what they'll get for their trouble? Lots of money, because they get paid for all of those payments that they process. And so then they could go to the bigger ones later and show, hey, this rinky dink whatever made X amount of money. Like, it might take a little bit of time to build up, but it's not like they're not making huge amounts of money to OnlyFans in the meantime anyway.
Right.
How much bigger does your growth need to be? You could still make huge sums of money and maybe move the country closer to where it needs to be in terms of its ridiculous stigma on sex work.
Yes, here. I'm gonna leave it right there.
Make me CEO. Or just give me stock. I don't even know if they have that.
In OnlyFans?
I don't think that they're a publicly traded company, but anyway, move in that direction.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.